Good morning. Hey all, I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties this morning. All right, hello, you can cast Smash if you have a blanket and you'd like to join me there. So welcome, I'm Gina Minyard. This is a yoga class this Tuesday morning in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit giggly because I'm just having some trouble here. But here we are. I posted the wrong location from this live stream video today. You're here on YouTube, not Facebook. So I'll get it straight. All right, so here we are. We've made it. I've made it. Okay, so this week we're approaching a turning of the wheel of the year called Beltane. It's also known as May Day, the more celebrated modern holiday, if you will, the 1st of May. But it's actually a much more ancient holiday called Beltane, which marks the halfway juncture point between spring and summer. So it's just right at this midpoint where it really initiates the energies of summertime, full light. In fact, it's the marks in the turning of the wheel of the year, the beginning of the season of the light. There's two seasons, season of light, season of the dark. So this is the days are getting longer. We're moving into that very bright time of year. Beltane means bright fire. And so we're seeing this just beautiful surge of creative energy in nature. All the flowers are coming out. Everything is green and lush, at least here in Atlanta. The birds and the bees are really going for it right now. So in our yoga practice here, we're here to harness that. So here on this very unusual time, we're still in the midst of this pandemic and everything being so uncertain. And we're all, of course, having whatever experience we're having, and it's legitimate. Some people are really struggling right now. Others have the luxury of, embracing downtime and thinking about reconsidering, kind of restructuring their life based on that. And of course, hoping for a more global restructuring in a positive way. So whatever your experience is, of course, it's legitimate. And how can it be creative? Like the question right now that I feel today is like, how can whatever it is we're experiencing become a creative process? Like, how can we turn it into something that we're actively stepping into? Even if there's a lot of discomfort, it's like, what is that? What part of that is, how is that supporting a creative process? So, we'll dive into our yoga practice. Those are just some questions. And as we move through our practice, we are, of course, moving with the creative energies of life. We're lining ourselves up. The maypole dance has this, column, this steady center, and the two ribbons, usually red and white, wrapping around that. And you can think of it as your own spine and the breath moving in and out and dancing around that. So that's, what we give ourselves over to in our yoga practice. And as we're practicing, maybe that there's a sense of what your own creativity, what can you bring to this time? Yes, supported by your yoga practice and then bigger than your yoga practice. All right, so, let's take a seat. You can sit up on your blanket roll, on the spine. I'm just noticing the internet was being a little spotty again. Hope we don't have another day like that today. Here we are. So, so taking a good seat and sit tall, lining through your spine, tuning to your breath with gaze soft or just current state. As we settle into that and just start to settle into the waves of breath, which again is waves of the breath, this creative energy, this dance, masculine and feminine, dancing around the pole, if you will, right through your center. Tapping into a deeper energy that then supports tapping into, again, our own current circumstance. How can we turn that into something creative? Our emotions, our whatever it is that's showing up is a form of creative energy. And just see what that has to bring into our experience today. And this getting close to the structure point of this halfway mark, turning into the season of the light. What can we grow? What can we cultivate? So bring your hands to touch at the heart, breathing in, breathing out. And we'll open with the sound of one Om. Inhale into center. Bow your head to your heart. Lower your hands to your thighs. Lift your head, open your eyes. All right, make your way up to table pose then. And if you have a block, grab that, place that between your upper thighs. If you don't have a block, just do your best to feel your way into center here. So elongating through your spine, drawing into center through, yes, the work of your toes, giving the block a little squeeze if you have it. And from the tone of your center, right at the navel, a little above the navel, that's the very center of the spine, right, the low ribs. Stretch your spine in two directions, tailbone, top of head, just really feeling into that axis. And with your next inhale, then lift your tail, lift your heart, lift your head nice and slow. Exhale, curl the tailbone under and tone your belly in and up. Round your back, push through your hands. And again, inhale, elongate through, lift your tail, follow that wave through, lift your heart, lift your head. Exhale, rounding under. So move with the breath in this way, moving through these poses that help us to awaken the dance around the center, right? The pull, if you will, of the spine, the breath moving in and out. And then these movements in that undulating, alternating way, and deepening the breath with that. Exhaling more completely as you round your back, inhaling more deeply. So that's the teaching of yoga. It's like, it's all creative energy. Thoughts, feelings, breath, life. And we can get more of that energy when we start to even it out. Not that we always just want to be at a 50-50 situation, right? That's not it. But harnessing the energies, especially when we're practicing, so we know how to wield them. Even though in life we see these alternations. Right now we're in this big moment of expanding energy. And we're going to be there for a little while, right? So one more time, exhale, round your back. So, obviously we keep going, but how do we do that? Lift your belly in and up, and then remove the block if you have one, and take your child's pose. Toes touching, knees apart, hips to heels. Tone your belly in and up, fold forward. Head on the floor, or you can, of course, fold your arms under your head for additional support. And just take a few breaths here. Yes, evening out the breath. Breathing down and into your belly, down and into the bowl of your pelvis. And softening the skin, softening your face, your eyes, your jaw. Softening to feel, and tuning in, listening. You'll make your way then up to table. Swing your legs around, come onto your back. And stretch your legs out long from there, stretch your arms overhead. Feeling again into this midline, the length of the spine, the tone around your low ribs, and elongating the energy through, tailbone, top of head. And also if your feet, your hands, elongating, just stretching open in the front in this way. And then bend your knees, feet on the floor, and take your feet up, hands to the fronts of the thighs, push forward and up, and start to really tighten around, wrap them around the center, that cinching, deepest muscles. Yes, pull your navel in, also pull your low back towards the navel. So just coming in front to back evenly, tightening through the waist, at the lowest belly, the front ribs, pushing with your hands to create a little more resistance. And here, work your feet, work your hands. You have that sense of connection and awareness there. So one more big breath. Keep opening through. All right, carefully, feet to the floor. Stretch it out again. Legs out long, arms overhead. But then lower the arms to the floor by your sides and join your legs close. So pull into the center like when you're squeezing the block. Spread your toes and turn the inner thighs more down, which also supports that balanced curve in your low spine. Just like you're practicing, tone at the belly, front ribs, even as you elongate through the neck and the top of the head, feeling a tone at the front of the throat. So push that into the arms, lift your right leg up and bend that knee towards you. Interlace the fingers behind the thighs, you push into the hands. And keep that awareness at the center. You stretch the leg towards straight, starting to open up the back of the leg, but keep both hips evenly on the floor, low back away from the floor, and stretch only as much as that's happening. Okay, so carefully release that. Press your arms into the floor, reach your leg out long, pressing that leg down, and lift your left leg slowly from that steady strength of your center. Interlace the fingers, even with the other index finger on top, just for balancing the hands and the wrists as you push into the hands. That's another thing you get here is a little tractioning on the wrist. We're gonna work towards some handstand variations today to explore our creativity. So stretching out the wrist, stretching out that leg, but in relationship always to center. So squeezing in with that right leg, turn the inner thigh down, low back curving in, tighten at the front as you elongate. All right, so release that down, lower that leg to the floor, and then bend both legs up towards you. Take the legs up and start with the hands at the front pushing, and just again, tone at low belly, especially those front ribs. We tend to poke the ribs up. So pull back at the ribs, tighten it all together, and elongate the spine, and then with your exhale, start to curl up towards your legs. Grab on behind your thighs, pushing into your hands as you elongate through. Breathing in, breathing out. And either roll to one side or rock and roll up. And from there, into downward facing dog. So you can go over your ankles or swing your legs around as you wish. Press into your hands. Reaching your hips up and back. And bend your knees. And with the bend of your knees, much like when you were pushing against your thighs with your hands, really help you to define the axis of the spine, pushing the tops of the thighs, but toning out again at your belly, your ribs, your throat. Press well into the hands. Finger pads, knuckles pressing, especially that index finger knuckle, which as you do that, you'll feel the wrist perhaps gets a little lighter, balances the weight in your hands, and draw that strength all the way up the underside of the arms. Lifting the inner arm bone, the one side closest to your ear, more up and apart, but draw those lower shoulder blade tips in a little tighter. Stretch your legs a little more. Maybe you're pedaling it out and opening it up more with that. All good. Okay. So look to the front, heels high, hips high, tiptoe on your way forward. And ground your feet hips width, arch up halfway, lengthening through your spine. With the inhale, hold, bend the knees enough to fold from your hips. With the exhale, inhale halfway up, and slide your hands off the legs. Bring your hands to the thighs and pause. In the same way, push your hands into your thighs, tone your belly and your ribs and your throat back. Really find that axis. Breathe into your low ribs, and from under the ribs, that center place, extend the spine, two directions, through the tailbone, through the top of the head. Just really feel the strength that anchors your awareness around that. And then stand with an inhale, stretch those arms overhead. Exhale, lower the arms by your sides. Inhale again, stretch overhead, reach up. Exhale, bend your knees, hands on thighs. Lengthen the spine, take a breath. Exhale, tip forward from your hips on your way down. Inhale, arch up to halfway, really extend. Come even a little higher if you need to. Find that length of the spine. And step your left foot into a lunge. You can be on fingertips, or up on a couple blocks, if you have them, right? And give yourself the support that you need. Just make sure that front foot is between the hands, that back heel, more to vertical. And as you breathe in, press your back thigh higher, like you did on the floor, turning the inner thigh more up. Tighten the right hip in more as you tone your belly. Bend into the front knee as you exhale. And then stretch your whole pose from the very center and elongating through. Press your hands down then and step to plank pose. Stepping it back, pause, just hold plank. Pressing into the hands, toning through your center, belly and ribs and throat. Back. And again, really get grounded in those hands, finger pads, knuckles pressing. All right, downward facing dog. Stretch it up and back. And then looking to the front of the mat again, heels high, hips high, tiptoe on your way forward. Arch up with the inhale. Step your right foot back, second side in the lunge. So just, to creep that left foot up forward. You can be, again, up on your fingertips or grab a couple blocks. Settle and breathe. Stay close to that deepest creative energy. And let that support the way you're lining up, exploring, moving through. So drag the feet towards each other and press your back thigh higher from the left hip in and bend a little deeper into that knee as you stretch through your spine evenly, toning through the center. So then again, step it to plank, hold plank pose. And then here, lift from plank as you tone your center, your right foot up, hover it. Breathing fully here, toning through the middle, keeping hips level. Then with an inhale, right leg up and back, three-legged dog. So just from that three-legged plank up into three-legged dog, right leg up. Take a big breath here. Now step the right foot up between your hands. Take a big step. So here we are again in the lunge. All right, so then we'll add the twist. Left hand on the floor, or again, you can be up on a block. Right hand on your knee. Push the hand into the knee. You tighten the waist and twist open from there. Center through the spine as always. Drag the feet towards each other. Tone through belly, ribs, and throat. Find your way to that axis. But then unfold it. Reach through the tailbone more, top of the head more. Shoulder blades firm on the back as you twist open. So touch down with your right hand. Step to plank. Hold plank. Strong through your center. Your left leg to a hover. So pressing down finger pads and knuckles. We're really tightening through the middle. Elongating through your spine. Left leg slowly up and back. Three-legged dogs. Stay with it. Hips stay level. Start rolling way up here. Keep your hips level by scissoring the middle. Keeping that right hip strong. Take a breath. Exhale. Left foot up between the hands. That's it. And then getting ready to twist. So right hand on the floor, or again, grab your block. Left hand on your knee. Smooth out your breath. Stay connected to that creativity and align as you drag the feet towards each other. Press your back thigh higher, inner thigh higher. From the left hip in and tighten your waist more, turning on the axis. You can stretch your left arm up when you're ready. So breathing in, breathing out. Toning into center, opening up. Full breath in. And touch down with your left hand. Step to plank, hold once again. So spread through your toes and tighten through your belly, your ribs, your throat. Push, make sure the index finger knuckle is pressing down, each finger pad pressing down. This time we'll lower slowly down onto our bellies. All right, so come on down and reach the legs long and strong behind you. Really stretch them, turn the inner thighs more up. And then the same way that you're laying on your belly, tone belly, ribs, and throat. Lift your hands off the floor, chest up and head up. Take your arms then straight by your side, so locust. And then interlace the fingers or use a strap or shirt between your hands and curl up more. Keep toning your abdomen. Lift your left leg up. Squeeze to the middle. And while you're squeezing the block, stretching the legs, tighten the glutes, the backs of your hips. As you lift, switch the leg. Press that left foot down, right leg lifts up. Scissor the middle. Reach that leg strong and straight. Curl up here. Stretch up a little more. Reaching long, one more breath, lower the foot. Then with an inhale, just lifting evenly here and lower down. Lower down, make a pillow under your head. Take 3 deep breaths down into your belly. Breathing into those lower ribs, again, that very center of it all. Feeling that pulsation in and out. That's the same form of that dance, whether it's spiraling movements or this In and out. Connect to that creativity within you. So hands on the floor by your chest. Again, reaching legs long and strong, tone your abdomen, and start to curl up, chest up and head up with that same strength in the upper back to cobra. You lift a little or a lot there, however that feels good to you. And downward facing dog, stretch up and back. Very good, so breathe deeply. Open fully. And now with an inhale, lift your right leg straight up and back, nice and slow. And then here, right knee up, forehead to knee, pause. Now here you have to round your back more, squeezing heel to sit bone, forehead to knee, and rock a little more forward and strong in those hands. Then inhale the leg up and back. We'll do it again, and then just step it up between the hands. So knee to chest, but round on your way, and then just move your face out of the way, right? Step it up. Hands on hips. Once you get there, or hands on front knee for a little extra support. Settle and breathe, always. And as you breathe in, you can draw in strong with your legs, pressing that left inner thigh back more. Tighten the right hip in more deeply. And yeah, spend a little more into that front knee from there. With an inhale, stretch it up overhead. And bend deeper into that front knee as you go. So opening up a little more here, take a full breath. Exhale, touch down. Now we're going to reverse the transition. So press your palms down. Bow your head down. Think knee stays at the forehead. Let's bring the heel to the hip, squeezing forehead to knee. Inhale, right leg up and back. So here are again. Make sure those hands are well placed. Right, then bend the knee, push the foot up, and roll your hip up and over. Steady your hands and arms over. Lift from the center of the wrist up into the armpits. Those inner edges more, especially on this left side. Notice you tend to drop on that left side. Lift your left armpit, turn your belly, even your face more to the left. Level the hip then, very good. Lower that foot down, take a big breath here. And left leg up with your inhale, nice and slow, keeping those hips level. Bring your knee forward, forehead to knee, push through your hands, round your back. So it's like plank, but also like cat. So round, squeeze the heel in tighter, rock forward a little bit more. Then inhale, left leg straight up and back, nice and slow. Bring it in with all that same awareness and connection with the exhale. Just move your nose out of the way and step that foot between your hands. All right, hands on hips, rise up, breathe, always settle, stay in connection with what's happening on a deeper level always. Line yourself up within that. Just squeeze in with your legs. That back inner thigh turns up. That left hip squeezes in tighter. Maybe that's a balanced dance around the center. And with an inhale, reach those arms overhead. And deeper into the front knee. Open a little more fully into it. That's it. Full breath in here. Exhale, touch down. We'll reverse the transition. So press your palms down. Forehead towards knee already. Squeeze the heel. Right hand to your right armpit. Right, level the hip again. Lower the foot down with your exhale. So breathe fully here. Breathe in, breathe out. And then lift your heels, lift to the front. Tiptoe slowly forward on your way. Yeah. Push up halfway with the inhale. Pull forward with your exhale. Head up and chest up. A little bend to the knees. Rise with your inhale. Reach all the way up. Good. Exhale, lower the arms. Okay. So take a breath here. Let me take a sip of water. Settle to your feet. Smooth out your breath. So then, with your feet towards the front of the mat, feet hips width, bend your knees, press your hands onto the thighs. So get in touch with your feet. We've done a lot of this, standing poses, lunges, warming up. So press your big toes down, spread your pinky toes apart, and start to really get a deeper connection from feet to hips. So press those big toes down, ball of the foot down, dragging back. This is you creating the tone of the muscles, establishing that connection. Try to kick up to handstand, and don't worry, we'll do lots of variations that don't involve kicking and even keeping your feet on the floor the whole time. not balancing on your hands. You'll see what I mean, right? So sit back into your hips. So, we'll work in a lot of creative ways. But this connection from feet to hips, and as you sit back, almost like flipping your sit bones higher, right? That's actually how you get your hips over your shoulders, if that's what you want, right? In that direction. Maybe I'll tone your belly and ribs in. Here, as we're sitting back, this diagonal angle of the torso is more neutral side. So pull navel in, belly and ribs in. But then arms by your sides, and more like a standing cat. Through your tailbone, through the top of the head. Makes that space, that length head. You're turn those inner arm bones back. Sitting a little deeper. And then bend your knees more and round your back a little bit more like your cat. Keep all that length, lift your belly, round your back, and then yes, come on down. And you can touch the floor behind your feet. So like a very slow descending movement, right? You're feeling all those different ways you move your spine and your core. Here again, really tone that belly, low belly in and up. Hang your head down. Tighten around the hips. Stretch it out a little more deeply here. So then with your inhale, arch up to halfway. See if you can lower down into a seat this way. You can also just step back through hands and knees and lower down that way. Okay. We're still here. Okay, having some internet issues again. All right, so then here, so if you lower down in that way, you're in more of that rounded spine. So press your heels down, hold on behind your thighs, elongate the spine. Let's keep going with that. Tone your belly in, lower slowly down, one vertebra at a time. Really tighten the navel, tighten around the waist, lowering down. So that's a string of pearls, right? Arms overhead. Take a breath here, keep pressing into the feet, toning to the center. And to come back up, but here you've come back to a nice neutral spine. Curl the tailbone up like you would in cat, but at the same time, lift your head and chest. And then yes, it's like you're coming back up one vertebra at a time. You have to walk your feet more forward. You may have to grab onto those legs to help yourself up, no worries. Let's do a few of those. Take a breath in. It might be a nice time to squeeze your block if you have one. It'll give you a little more sense of the center with that. And rounding carefully, evenly as you lower down. Take a breath in here, lengthen. As you exhale, again, tailbone, curl the tailbone up. Tighten that deepest layer, even as you're flexing upwards. That's it. All right, so from there, again, take a breath and lower slowly down. And still will stay down. So once you get there, move the block if you're using it. And just take your arms out in a T. Separate your feet to the edges of the mat. Lower both knees to the right. We'll take a few breaths here, just in a simple windshield wiper. Opening up more expansively after a very contracting abdominal work. So pull your ribs in tighter on the left though. And draw from left hand to shoulder blade. That'll be another way of connecting into the strength of the shoulder blade there. And then come back up to center with the inhale, second side, both knees over to the left, sharp on the edges of your feet. Stretching a little deeper to the front of that right hip. Pull the ribs back on the right, draw into that right shoulder blade more. From hand to shoulder blade, connecting in. And from under your ribs, elongate through. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, come back up to center, very good. And from there, just rest. Take a moment to be truly at neutral. Hips on the floor, low back's going to be a little space between the floor and your low back, but you're centered. And again, really feeling where that is. And then you can either bring hands to the fronts of thighs, just hold the whole time, like creating like a little stopper, a little resistance, belly, ribs, and throat back. An option to bring arms back to the floor and then to reach the left leg out slowly to a hover. And back up again, the right leg slowly out to a hover. So alternating, but keeping that strong, steady center. And feeling what it takes to do that from the center, how inner legs, outer hips have to work in coordination, even moving slowly. Remember that connection from feet to hips as we pulled up. And as you reach your leg out slowly, there's like by going slowly, you're firing the other side of the leg as well. So we're just really waking up the work of the limbs to feed into this creative exploration. Some of you might, be able to use both legs. That's always harder, even to straighten the legs at the top and alternating from there. I like the alternation though, because it awakens the dynamic play. Though doing both legs together is certainly more intense and you have to work harder. And you just make sure your low back is not hiking off the floor. So it all is moving together. Okay. So one more time. And then bring it back up. And then just take the knees a little wider, and you can hug it in, rock it out side to side. Okay, just checking that we're all still here. Internet. Don't trust the internet these days. Okay, so then, as we did once before, take both legs out along the floor, scissor into the middle, toe in the center, bend your right leg slowly up, and again, interlace the fingers behind that thigh and stretch. Push into the hands. Notice here you're pushing away from the belly, right? Toning in strong. And then option 2, we have to start by bending the knee, curling up, chest up, head up, similar to what we did when we brought knee to forehead, right? And here you can pull the knee towards you more, and you can start to lift that left leg more to a hover. And then option 2, grab your big toe, second and third finger and thumb, making a little wrap around that big toe, the thumb across the fingernails, and then you can even start to stretch the leg straighter from here, which will be a bigger hamstring stretch, flex upwards. Either that left hand on the thigh, or you can bring your hand behind your head and give your neck a little extra support if you need it. If you can straighten the leg all the way, make it sharp. All right, tighten that right hip in more. All right, lower down from there, carefully, kind of reversing the steps. And then press that right thigh down, inner thigh down, bend your left leg up. Interlace the fingers, push into your hands, and stretch the leg straighter. Just notice what that feels like, being, of course, a little further along in our practice, a little more open in our bodies. To breathe, find where it all comes together through your center, this neutral way. But then take a breath, and with the exhale, flex upwards, and you may have to bend that knee towards you to get the leverage of that. Your option to take second and third finger, and the thumb crosses over, maybe the right hand on the thigh or right hand behind the head, and curling up a little higher, in that strong core, stretching it a little bit more. This shape is actually a very important shape for the transition into handstand. We move through something similar in the shape of it on our way up. Okay, lower down from there. Stretch that leg out, arms overhead, just rest. And then one more just core exercise here. Bend your knees, feet on the floor. Again, if you have that block, give it a squeeze. Press into the backs of the arms. Again, start with hips on the floor, tone the core, and then slowly pushing your feet with the hips up, just giving a little more strength to those glutes. Their role in really stabilizing. So option here, right, stay here, or still squeezing the block. So you can balance your weight on your left leg and just bring your right leg out to straight. So you're having to use that left leg a whole lot more. But you're squeezing into the middle, finding the center. Rebend that knee, foot back on the floor. And then if that was working for you on that one side, tucking the middle, pushing through the arms, lift that left leg straight out. And again, just finding where it all comes together. Breathing in, keep pushing into the arms, lifting the chest slightly. And lower that foot. One more breath, lift the hips up, and lower the hips back down. All right, let's take soles of feet together, knees apart. Let's do that for a few breaths and just rest. Let your low back curve in, leg to the side, shoulder blades underneath. Hands on your thighs or on abdomen, whatever feels more supportive for you here. All right, bring the knees back up. And you can hug the legs up towards you or coming back up so you can roll to one side, or if it's working for you to rock and roll up. See if you can go through that transition we did before. Plant your feet down and up and over into standing forward fold. Maybe that's not possible. It's fine. Swing your legs around. Just join us here. Okay, so inhale, arch up to halfway, and step back to plank pose. And from plank, draw in the center, pressing to those hands, and lower down onto your front. We'll take cobra, stretch the legs long and firm, press into the tops of feet, press into the hands, heart forward and up, and downward facing dog from there. So we've done a lot, and now just feel into not just the movements we're doing now and the poses we're about to do, but the connect to where we've been, and the balance through the whole body, this creative expression. So you can step your left a little closer to your right foot. And inhale, lift your right leg up, three-legged dog. See if this feels a little more connected and balanced. Bring the knee to the chest, passing through that round shape as you step the foot between your hands. Hands on hips, lifting back up. And then from here, we'll move into warrior three. Right, so scissoring with your legs. This is really a modified warrior one, that back heel up. Scissoring like you're squeezing a block. So that inner left thigh tones, right hip tightens. Pull your belly in. You just have arms by your sides to start. Step in about halfway. Keep squeezing in. Tighten that right hip more, abs stronger on the right, and then just launching. I'm more interested in this straight line from head to foot behind you, right? Holding the center. Maybe you can straighten your right leg more. Maybe you can hinge forward without losing that. But don't droop at the top, right? Keep reaching to the top of the head, lifting your chest. Arms can stay by your sides, or you can, of course, reach them overhead. Right hip has got squeezing so tight from your ribs back more than you think. Roll the left hip down, but not so much that you drop on that side. So come out of it the way you came. Step back carefully, and have hands on hips, or with one inhale, reach overhead, and touch down both hands. Just step to down dog, nice and easy. Okay, and right foot a little closer to the left leg up slowly. Similar shape, no? You could bend the right if you needed to here. Step the foot up between the hands and hands on the hips. Settle and breathe, connect to that creative energy. Just squeeze in with the back leg and firm your left hip in, bending into that front knee from there. So start with arms by your sides, and you can step in a little ways, maybe a little less than halfway, and really get connected here. Still squeezing with the back leg, that left hip working so strong. Pull in at the center, even as you elongate through. And then tip your weight into the front leg and launch into it. Again, rather see that straight line, and rather see more upright. Feeling into, as you tone your core, that elongated spine, sending that all the way through the back leg. Maybe you're hinging forward more, maybe that left knee is staying bent, maybe you're straightening the leg, that strong hip. Elongating, reaching arms forward. Breathing in, breathing out, stay with that creative energy. Left hip strong, yes, use yourself to turn that right inner thigh more up. One more breath here. And step it back carefully. Either hands on hips or reach it overhead, take a big breath. Exhale, touch it down. Downward facing dog. And come down into a child's pose. Toes touching, knees apart, hips to heels. Let that just ground your hips and stretch your legs out. Take a few breaths here and really connecting the center. And then we will move to a wall and explore options for playing with handstand. And this creative energy, right? What I love about handstand is so find a wall. I'll give you a little sermon here about handstand. A lot of reasons we practice yoga. You don't ever have to do a handstand. That's what my teacher said, to live a fulfilling and good life, right? Handstand is optional. You don't have to do a handstand because we stand on our feet, right? So I'm moving to this wall here. It's really a door. It'll work. So actually, I think what I'll do is use this wall so I can actually have a wall. It's half of a wall, but it will do. But because it is optional, it's an expression of creative possibility, right? We can stand on our hands if we want to. We can cultivate that skill, that expression. So start by sitting your hips to the wall. We'll start with half handstand. So some of you a lot of you I think know me who are taking this class live. If you know half handstand, measure out your legs and you can go up into it. I want to give quickly one option for those of you who are like, I'm not sure about being on my hands. You certainly don't have to. You can do another warrior three, putting your hands on the wall. And then you can just work with the extra supportive hands on the wall, turning the leg that's lifted the inner thigh up, tightening the other hip in, really finding the center here. And that's going to be your expression. Maybe that standing leg has to be bent. That'll be a version of it, right? That's not going to demand that you be on your hands. So for half handstand, though, you'll measure out your legs. I like to put a block in place so I really get an honest line, the bottom of my heel. Some of you already know this, but feel free to watch if you don't know this. I'll throw to the side of my mat so that I'm centered on this wall here. All right, so hands straight ahead. Once you find that line where your heels were, that's where your wrists go. Point your hands straight ahead, finger pads, knuckles pressing. Then you lift up, it's a short down dog, knees bent. And you carefully walk up the wall and push your chest to the wall. And that's the hard part. If you feel like you're falling forward, press your hips higher, even bend your knees more. And yes, you're trying to get those hips vertical. So tone your belly in, your ribs in. Remember, press into those inner edges of the hands, turn those inner biceps, inner shoulders more forward. Belly in, ribs in, but stretch up. So you can stay here, of course, come down and rest when you need to. Option to then do a three-legged version, like you've been practicing as well. You can take one leg up, probably left leg first, right, scissor the middle, turn that inner thigh up, from the right hip in. Switching out at some point. Now you're not reaching the leg way overhead, you're just going straight up. Reaching that foot to the ceiling. This keeps you steady through your center the whole time. From the left hip in, scissor in the middle, one more breath. Just lower down, right? Walk to the floor. You can rest again in a child's pose. You can also just sit back on your heels, but child's pose is nice after that. I always like to say it's good news that half handstand is hard, and it's even on a lot of levels harder than handstand in terms of executing it strength-wise. It's a harder pose in your muscle strength of the body. Handstand, once you get there, is more easeful because the bones stack up. You don't have to work so hard, right? So with that said, here's handstand. Now, the one thing handstand has is a major transition that can be very scary and unfamiliar. But again, that's where creativity is, like facing the unknown, opening to possibilities. I think this wall's gonna work for me. Okay, so if you want to try it, some strategies are, again, I'm taking up to this wall here, so I'm gonna come a little bit off center of my mat. You walk in, the goal is to have steady arms. So feel free to do half handstand again if you're not sure about this. Your hands are gonna be about a hand print away from the wall, right? So a little ways back. Same steady arms. And the most important thing is, if you can see me here in the camera, my arms are vertical, and that's not gonna change. Okay? Vertical arms. When I kick up, I'm not gonna waver in my arms. I'm not gonna lose them this way, I'm not gonna lose them this way, vertical arms. Then you step one foot in, it's a little tighter stance than down dog. You can just flirt with it. Push and swing, switch. That's that leg on the foot on the floor is the pusher. The leg on the top is the swinger. But it's not a flinger. You're not flinging, you're not flailing, right? You're keeping that nice and tight. So then maybe you're flirting with kicking a little. You switch, you're gonna find one side that makes a whole lot more sense than the other side, right? And then eventually you kick up. I'm going slow there, so I can find I'm going to the door there, right? And then you have a wall, perhaps, and then you squeeze in with your legs, pull your ribs in, like we stretched on the floor many times. That's it. You might hold it for a little bit, and you come on down. All right, so at this point, I know I can't see you and can't really coach you, but that's how you would explore a handstand. I do encourage that you alternate legs, right? So you get, just rely on the habitual side. You'll get better at doing the side that doesn't always feel so easy. So take another moment to finish up where you are. Maybe you're in half handstand again. Maybe you're kicking up, keeping arms steady, drawing to the center, elongating in that same way all the way through. At some point, you just kick to the wall, and then you do other things to practice balance. Alrighty, I'm going back to my usual spot. You can, of course, be where you want to be in your own little space there. Okay. So then, let's again take a standing forward fold. Feet hips width or a little wider. You can here slide the palms under your feet. And you'll lightly step the ball of the foot in the center of the palm. Then you use as much as you need to get more tip from your hips. And tone your belly in and up. So even here, think about sliding the shoulder blades more onto the back and up toward your hips. So that gives you more release in your neck. Just this little stepping on your hands, of course, is a nice little traction for the wrist. You're going to think about sliding the hands, almost like you're trying to slide them out, but you can't because you're standing on them. And up into the shoulder blades from there. Okay, so release that. Again, we'll lower to a seat. Maybe you can bend the knees and sit down that way, or obviously just join us here. Come the rest of the way down once you get there. And cross your right ankle over your knee. Push ankle into knee. Tone your abdomen as you float the left leg up, and you can hold behind your left thigh or to the shin. Push into your hands so the hips ground down. Low back curves a little bit away from the floor to start. Elongating the spine. You can come a little tighter. Breathing in, breathing out. Maybe you're coming in tighter, the hip rolls up, that's fine. Smooth out your breath. And lower it down from there, both feet on the floor. Cross your left ankle over the knee. Push the ankle firmly, push into the arms. As you tone your center, lift up slowly. So you're gonna hold behind that thigh, the shin below the knee, perhaps push into your hands continually. Either keeping hips firm on the floor or rolling up a little tighter. Soften your face, smooth out your breath, and feel what you've done. You know, it doesn't matter what version you worked on. You were working on the relationship of left and right, the work we did in the legs, the staying centered in the core, the length of the spine, the pole at the middle, right? And we just explored creatively, as we always do in our practice. So lower down from there, and cross your right knee over the left knee. And take the arms out to a T. Hips to the right, knees to the left, coming into a twist. Curve the low back in, right, by using those legs and making a low back curve, but then pull the ribs in, stronger on the right. As you twist, drawing into that right shoulder blade, centering the spine even here. Again, reach from right hip to right knee. As you elongate from under the ribs, two directions, let that make some space. Really open across your right chest. Breathing in, breathing out. Come back into center, and so we move through our yoga practice. Recenter the hips, left knee on top of right. Scoot your hips to the left, lower the knees to the right. Move through our yoga practice, and with this, exploring the context of our own experience. Finding the creativity in whatever arises and channeling it through the techniques of yoga. So curve the low back in, reach from left hip to left knee, especially pull your ribs in a little tighter on the left. Open across your chest, working into that left shoulder blade more. Make length, deep, smooth out the breath continually. And come back up to center. Recenter your hips and take the legs up, one hand on top of each knee. And then take the knees out wide and push into your hands at the shins, push forward so the sit bones tip down. And then tone at the belly and the ribs. So in this shape, we're again creating the tone and resistance so that you're centering around the spine. We didn't do so much to stretch out the hips, those inner legs today. So just keep your left leg where it is, and then the right leg you can stretch up into a happy baby. So just feel a little balancing yourself out here with that. You're still pushing forward into that left hand there, pushing up with your right foot and drawing down. And you can stay here, or some of you may think, ooh, I want to stretch out a little further. As long as that's feeling integrated, you can even do that from holding onto your calf or your thigh. Keeping hips level, spine long. However you're doing that, rebend the knee, hold the right knee with your hand, the left leg into happy baby, push the foot up, draw the knee down. And either stay there or keeping hips level, spine centered, you can stretch that leg towards straight. Holding that foot or maybe calf, thigh. Give yourself a little more room. Keep pushing forward either way into your hands, toning your abdomen to balance that. And then rebend that knee, take the knees up, rock it out a little bit side to side. And then you roll to one side and make your way up into a seat. Just want to sit for a moment here before we rest. You can feel what you've tapped into. Sit up on your blanket or your blocks and fold those legs in front. Especially going upside down or exploring. Even the down dog with one leg up is really close to, half moving to a half handstand. So just really explore possibilities always in a variety of ways, always. And here, as you take your seat, coming back in the center, breathing deep into those lowest ribs, very center of it all, continuing to elongate through the spine, tailbone, top of head. As you breathe out, right, you lengthen. And so that breathing in, breathing out, that dynamic dance, taking whatever was arising in your experience and channeling it into the creative process, finding the creativity in your yoga practice, of course, in life, in this very unusual time we're living in as we approach this very really celebrating the light, celebrating creativity. Like, what can we bring into these circumstances? That bright fire, Beltane, bright fire. So one more breath, just feeling into your own experience, breathing in, breathing out. And you can softly open your eyes, and then stretch out onto your back. And we'll come take our rest. So come on down, stretch those legs out long. Take, of course, any support you need, maybe blanket behind your knees. So reach from really your pelvis through your legs, your feet, and you take a big breath, bringing the rib cage away from the pelvis, working the shoulder blades a little more underneath the backs of the ribs, but then settle in, especially with an exhale. Just let it all go. Continuing just to feel into all of those levels. In Shavasana, it's so good to just make yourself open, just open the field of your awareness. We want to notice. We don't want to analyze per se. We don't want to be too active in the mind, but just open yourself to receive what comes through. And maybe it's just the sweetness of releasing and just basking in that creative pulse that just gets more subtle, more profound. That, yes, gives us something to rest into. That opening to just get insights. Even just being with your experience as it is always the secret to unlock the deeper creativity, even in what's uncomfortable, even in what is perhaps difficult to be with. Staying with the rise and fall of the breath of the belly. And just open to what your experience is, what arises. And drawing in a deeper, fuller breath in. Smooth, complete exhale out. You can wiggle and stretch at fingers and toes, arms and legs. As you're ready to then bend your knees and roll to the right. Rest for a moment with your head on your arm. And make your way back up into the seat. From there, sit on your blanket or blocks, sit with a balanced hips and spine. And bring your hands to touch at the heart, right at that centermost place. Feeling what you've tapped into, what you've channeled, this creativity, this movement towards light, taking all the darkness, difficulty with it. What can we create? What can we generate during this time? With gratitude for a practice that helps us to always tune into what's deeper, to bring it forward more in that way. We'll close with an Om. Inhale fully. Namaste. Thank you all for being here. So, if you're still alive, I think you guys, some of my regulars, it's good to see you all. I think we hopefully went okay with the internet today. I just want to mention I will have a slightly different schedule starting in May. So we have one more live Facebook live stream on Thursday, and then I'll be looking at my schedule, kind of seeing what we'll do. I definitely can't do this class next Tuesday. I have a conflict, but look at my posts, and I'll have on my website, ginamaynard.com. You'll see my online yoga schedule there, and I'll update it as soon as I know what things will look like next month in May. So thank you all for being here, and we'll see you soon. See you through the internet soon. Hopefully, who knows, soon in real life as well. Blessings. Take care. Mm-hmm.